It's time for Savings Appeal. We're joined by Dylan Bond. He's the owner of Bond Financial Services. Now, for the last couple months, we've been chatting about ways and tips that you need to know when you're planning your retirement. We've finished the list. Let's go through all of them just so people out there have all the tips that they need to have a successful retirement.
Okay.
The first one, let's face it, we're going to live for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, life expectancies have got a lot longer. People today are facing a lot of different issues out there. We've got very volatile stock markets. They're going up, they're going down. People are living past 90. If you're a 65-year-old couple, statistically, one of you will live past 90. These are things you need to take into consideration, and then throw on top of that the extremely low interest rates out there. It's a real big concern for people at or near retirement today to make their money last longer than they do.
Because you just might be 25, 30 years without a paycheck. The next thing is, because you're going to be in advanced age for a whole lot longer, your healthcare expenses are going to rise pretty
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of studies out there. I think a while back we did one where if you retire at age 65 as a couple, you can expect to pay over $250,000 in healthcare expenses out of your pocket during your retirement.
That is a whole lot of money, so we need to
you know what, you need to think about it, and there's different ways of planning for it. My belief when it comes to healthcare planning and long-term care planning is know all your options, and the sooner you know your options, the better decisions you can make. Proactive planning when it comes to healthcare is a lot better than reactive planning.
That's true, because you'll be ready for whatever gets thrown your way. The next thing is you need to figure out what you're going to do with your home or homes.
Absolutely. I mean, as you get older, you get into retirement. I have a lot of clients that are relocating down to the Carolinas and Florida. I have other clients that are relocating up to Maine and to be closer to family. You know, people don't want to take care of bigger homes when the kids are gone. There's more expense. You have to pay more to heat it, so on and so forth. So a lot of people at or near retirement will start to consolidate, bring that home size down so it's less to maintain, and obviously bring their expenses down in doing that, and maybe even after the sale of their bigger house, have a little bit extra money for retirement.
Because you're going to need it.
You're going to need it.
25, 30 years without a paycheck.
That's
You're
right.
going to be in trouble if you don't plan. Next thing, it's kind of like healthcare expenses, but long-term care assistance, because often, you know, whether it be home nurse or hospice, there's a lot of things out there that you might need.
Yeah, you know, the bottom line is, as we get older, you know, there's a saying out there: what used to kill us, now you take a pill and a nap and you'll live another 20 years. So with that happening, as we get older, we're going to need some type of help, whether it's from our family, from a home health care aid, or in unfortunate some cases nursing homes, and they cost money to provide for that. So the thought here is there's a lot of other strategies available out there that I'm talking to families about, other than just simply long-term care insurance. There's many other ways of planning for it. Again, the key is understanding your options, knowing what's available out there, and having enough information to make a good decision.
Like you're saying, you want to be proactive, not reactive.
Absolutely.
Next tip, and I think this is the one that a lot of people don't take into consideration. Inflation is rising, and things that aren't counted in inflation are rising at an even higher rate.
Yeah, so if you look at the average inflation rate right now being around 3%, that doesn't even include some of the things that we consume the most day to day, being food, energy, and healthcare. So when you start to look at where the cost of a gallon of milk has gone over the last 10 years, where the cost of a gallon of gas has gone over the last 10 years, and where the cost of medical care and prescription drugs, things like that, have gone over the last 10 years, it's a heck of a lot more than 3%.
And that's what the government's saying. It's roughly 3 to 5%, but everything's so much higher than that.
You have to be aware of it, because unfortunately inflation is a silent killer. You don't know it's there until 10, 15 years down the road, and you're drawing your assets down a lot more just to maintain your lifestyle. So we want to fix that up front and make sure people are aware of it.
So your next few tips are for when people start getting up there in years. It's that you need to transition your goals a little bit better, because you can't invest the same way when you're 80 as you did when you were 20.
Yep. Simple rule of 100. Take your age, subtract it from 100. What you're left is about the piece of your portfolio that you should feel comfortable taking some risk with. Now, when I say some risk, I'm not a big believer in passive investment vehicles for people 50 and older. I don't think they have the stomach or the time to wait out those big swings in the market. So if we're looking to take risk for some growth to help keep pace with inflation, we want to look at active management, managers that are trying to avoid risk and participate in returns, so that over time the volatility might be lower, and the returns might be reasonable.
Now, Dylan, unfortunately, we're running out of time, but these next tips are important too. You need to start thinking about Social Security, and you also need to start thinking about taxes in retirement, because certain accounts that we have, some are tax deferred and some are tax up front.
Yep.
You also need to plan distribution management. You need enough for you and enough for your kids.
Absolutely. I mean, the bottom line is it all comes together with the more taxes you pay or the more income you earn, the more risk you have of paying tax on your Social Security. So we need to look at that on a case-by-case basis and make sure that family that we're working with in that scenario understands what's going on.
Dylan, it's a pleasure having you here.
Pleasure being here.
Great tips. I hope they've helped you. And if you want more information, you can visit bondfinancialservices.net or call 413-754-4747. Just let Dylan and his staff take steps to secure your financial future.